That coworker who's moving slowly today doesn't care, doesn't try. What do you assume about someone who's late to work? Lazy, unorganized, uncommitted. We have a devil who sits on our shoulder every day and whispers into our ear, and what they whisper into our ear is a made-up story about why other people do what they do, and that story almost always assumes malice. So why does gossip start and spread at work? Because like a 3-year-old playing hide and seek, we get so caught up in the moment that we don't pause to orient ourselves to another person's perspective, to better understand why they do what they do and say what they say. Instead, the biases of our brains whisper in our ears every single day that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 7, baby. And everybody else is a 4. And when we start to believe that, when we listen to those biases, when we decide that our choices and behavior is virtuous and that others is less so, it gives us permission to experience contempt. And then we invite others to join us in that contempt. The truth is, if you want to cut down on gossip in the workplace, there are 2 core behaviors you need to ask your team to make a commitment to. Assume good intent and go to the source. Assuming good intent is simply pausing and asking a very important question. What would be a perfectly legitimate explanation for this person's behavior? What would make a good person act this way? That guy who cut you off in traffic, maybe he is an entitled jerk, or maybe he's on his way to the hospital for a family emergency. That coworker who's moving slowly, yeah, maybe she doesn't care, or maybe her boss asked her to slow down. That person who was late to work, maybe their kid spilled orange juice on their pants right when they were walking out the door. Assuming good intent is how we mute the devil on our shoulder, because it pushes contempt aside, and it forces us to reach for empathy. Why would a good person act this way? Is a question we can ask ourselves that immediately turns us into a more emotionally intelligent member of a team. The other behavior is to go to the source, is to do exactly what I described earlier. To go to a coworker and say, hey, this happened, it's bothering me, I'm having a reaction, we should talk about it. And if you can get the members of your teams to commit to just those 2 behaviors, well, you've just planted the building blocks for teamwork, because those are core behaviors that lead to healthy conflict in the workplace and steer us away from patterns of unhealthy conflict. Oh, and you'll still have some gossip in the corners and whispered conversations in the hallways, but they will sound a little bit different. Now, employee number 1 goes to a coworker and says, hey, do you believe that Jane pulled Jack aside this morning and said that it was bothering her that he wasn't moving fast enough or pulling his weight? And he handled that really well. At which point in time, the other person can lean in and quietly reply, I know. Thank you.